Okay, today's daf is Yoma Ted Zayin, Yoma 16. In the middle of Ted Zayin and Aleph, the first, the line before the first wide lines. The son Kol Aksalim Shayushem Ayugvom Chutz Mikosel Mizrachi Shakon Asaros Zapara Omid Bahara Mishka Umechavin Veroa Keneged Pisco Shal Heichel B'Shas Hazas Hadam. It says all the walls they had in the complex of the Beis Hamikdash, they're all high walls, except the easternmost wall, the outermost wall, which was a low wall because the Kohen had to look on top of it in order to be able to see the opening of the Heichel. Why do you have to see the opening of the Heichel? So the Gemara, the Mishnah explains, because when he sprinkled the blood, Kohen HaSarvis HaPara, when he sprinkled the blood of the parachata of the paraduma, in order to mitaher the tmei mesim, so he had to see the pischa shel heichal, and to see through the doorway of underneath the wall, it would be too high since the harabayis was on an ascension and went up, so therefore it was only 20 amos from where he was on the bottom to the top, and because we're going to see later there was something else in blocking, making it higher than 20 amos, so you didn't be able to see. Therefore, you had to be able to see the outer wall had to be lower so you could see on top of it. So the Gemara says it must be Lezer ben Yaakov. Why is it Lezer ben Yaakov? The Gemara says about 5 lines from the bottom. It's not Lezer Yaakov. Omer Mala Ha'isa Shama Gavo Amma V'Ducha Nosan Aleh. He says it was 19 and a half amos plus this amma of a duchen. That would make it 20 and a half amos. The duchen was used for the Levium who were singing the shir by some of the korbanos. Now, the Gemara then is docha. The Gemara says maybe the Mishnah is not Lezer ben Yaakov. The second line from the bottom, Rada Barava Amar Hamani Rabbi Yehudahi. He says the reason the wall had to be lower, the outermost wall had to be lower to see over on top of it, is because the Mizbeach block, not because of the Ducha, and the Mizbeach was in the middle of the block. And the Gemara on Amud Beis shows that Rabbi Yehuda, this can't be what Rabbi Yehuda held, and really the Mishnah concludes, the Gemara concludes in Yizayim and Aleph that the Mishnah in Midos is Lezer ben Yaakov. Now, it's interesting this halacha is the Kohen Hasoref HaSapara to be able to see the Heichel. That's what this halacha is based upon. So the Gemara's lashon is Omid Bahara Mishka. He was Omid Har Zeis Mechavin Veroa. Mechavin Veroa means, could be read Mechuvan Veroa, that his body was positioned in a way that he should be able to see it. Not that he actually had to see it. Mechuvan Veroa, his kivun, his direction had to be towards the Heichel Veroa, and he has to be able to possibly see it. Not that it means. What's the Matthias over here? That he's really looking all the way up. It's 19 and a half amos up. So he had to be looking all the way up to see when he was doing each sprinkling of the blood on a tummy mace. Hard to believe that's really what was going on. Now, the Agos Abach changes the word Mechuvan to Miskavin. Also Rashi, Miskavin Veroa. He's Goris Miskavin Veroa. Now, Rashi brings, what's the Makor for this halacha? He brings a Miskavin Veroa. Rashi says, Ma'agova Rosh HaKos Al Derech Sharim Shel Lefnei Yimanu Pischa Shel Heichal Kshu Mazeh B'Dam K'Dichsiv V'Hiza Al Nokach Pnei Ol Moed. He has to sprinkle it facing the Ol Moed, facing the Heichal. Now, Al Nokach doesn't say anywhere he has to see it. It says he has to sprinkle it facing that way. So it's very understandable from the pasuk to say that it's really Mechovan is the right gear. So like the Bach and Rashi, that he just his body has to be facing it and it has to have the ability. Facing it, part of facing something is that you should have the ability to see it. If you can't see it, it's not really called facing that direction in a full sense. So I want to suggest that really the real gear starts Mechuv and Veroa, and not like Rashi. And that would explain the pasuk. He's al nochach pei al moed, facing the al moed, not that he has to actually miskaven, he has to have intention and see it. He has to look, because Mitzvah says he doesn't have to look really. That's not the halacha. He has to be able to see it, and that's really the halacha. And therefore, it's understandable. The Gemara wants to suggest Rabbi Yehudahi. What's the difference between saying our Mishnah is Rabbi Yaakov or saying Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yaakov says it's because of an amma for a ducha, and then you had to be able to see on top of the wall. And Rabbi Yehuda says possibly, the Gemara suggests, because the Mizbeach was there. The difference between the Mizbeach and the ducha is the Mizbeach was the kavua thing which wasn't going to be moved. The duchen, the Levium sang the shir, but not all the time. The Mizbeach was constantly being used. The duchen wasn't constantly being used. It could be that it even was removable. So that's why it's Mustabra. At the end of the Gemara wanted to say at this point that it's Rabbi Yehuda, because we're trying to figure out. The Gemara would rather say it's Rabbi Yehuda than Elazar ben Yaakov, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, there would be something permanently blocking the view, the Mizbeach, and therefore he would never be able to see the Heichel, the Kohen Asor Vesapara. He would never be able to see the Heichel. It would never be Mechubim Varoa. And the Gemara says, no, on a technicality, it can't be Rabbi Yehuda, because Mizbeach wasn't in the middle, and therefore we're forced to say, Elazar ben Yaakov. The Gemara would rather say Rabbi Yehuda, not Elazar ben Yaakov, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, it would be something permanent, and it would be it would be less on a level of seeing, of facing, and being able to see the Heichel, than according to Elazar ben Yaakov.